Hey, thought I'd come up here and share a little something that is on my heart. The last couple of years, I'll admit it, one time I was on the pro black tip, but the reason I got out of it, besides some of the main people that were in it, I just felt were not sincere and a bit shady. It just never really lined up with who I was and how I grew up. And during the last couple of years, I've just learned there's no one way to be black or no one way to be a human being or a decent human being. I mean, sometimes you just have to go with who you are. As long as you don't disrespect or hurt anybody, I mean, as long as you don't disrespect or hurt anybody, I mean, what's the big deal? Now, am I going to be one of them ones to say racism does not exist? Oh no. I'd be a fool to say that. And I can't understand people, especially people of color, that do try to preach that. I'm like, nah, it's still there. It's still out there. You should always be aware of where you are and what's going on. You should always have some knowledge. At the same time, you can't carry it into every situation because not every situation is racial or it's because of your gender or what have you. Anyway, I started out with that little rambling speech to get to this. Yesterday, the sun was going down. It was feeling cool. This was around 5:30, maybe a quarter to 6. I felt like getting up and taking a little drive around the town of Bluefield. And before I left the house, I called my mother and my stepfather and asked were they at home. And she said, "Yeah, we're at home." I was like, "Okay." So I went by there, which admittedly, I don't do enough of. And I'll admit, I do need to keep more in contact with them because my mom is almost, if not is, 70. My stepfather is 75. I consider them in their golden years. One day they won't be here. And those two, during a very difficult time in my life, stuck by me and let me stay with them when they very easily could have like put me out or whatever. But it wasn't like I was partying or doing anything like that. I was honestly working and honestly trying to be independent and get out of the house. Took much longer than I would have wanted, but it happened. But it finally happened. And their patience with me and even showing me some things and teaching me some things really was a good deal in my life. I mean, I will always be grateful to them. But I went over to their house and I had a little long talk about mom, about different things. And one thing came up was relationships and things. And of course, eventually, the racial part did come up. And my mom said something that, I'll be honest, I never thought I would live to see the day her say this. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what she said, but I'll paraphrase it. Basically, in so many words, she was like, Irvin, at the end of the day, you got to go with who loves you. And she said, I'll be honest, I never thought I would say that. But to tell you the truth, I've let go of that because it's not worth it. Number one, people are going to do what they want to do, Irvin. And number two, you can get with somebody that's black and still have a lot of the same mess that some of these black people have getting with somebody that's white. I mean, and it was almost like it because when I was young, oh, and I will never forget when I was young, she said, "You better not bring no white girl up in here. I'll kill you." And that used to be like her favorite. I mean, and for those that may hear that and say, "Oh, that's terrible, Irvin," but parents said a lot of things. I'm 44, in case you're wondering. Parents said a lot of things that were not just mine. I mean, I've heard stuff come out of people's mouths that were just flat out horrible. Even for that, even for years ago, was just horrible. But it was a real nice talk. And I, like I said, I won't go into, but that was the one thing that really stuck with me. And it just shows, people say, well, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not always true. That's not always true. Not always true. Sometimes even the old dogs learn new things. And basically, I just came up here just to tell you that at the end of the day, go with who goes with you. Now, do I love my people? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's about who's with you, because skin folk ain't always kinfolk. And if that white person or that white family is backing you up and looking out for you better than, let's say, some of the black people that's preaching the pro-black stuff to you, hey, if the pro-black people are looking out for you and actually taking care of you, cool, go with them. You got to go with who backs you up. At the end of the day, it ain't about race, it ain't about politics, and it ain't about gender. And a lot of this agenda stuff, the racism, the feminism, the whole sex thing, all this, it's doing nothing but tearing people apart. At the end of the day, you see it in politics, you see it in entertainment, which is, on a side note, after Avengers Endgame, which I still love, by the way, still loved it. Endgame is probably going to be the last Marvel MCU thing I check out. From here on out, I'm probably going to be stingy, because some of the things they're coming up with and some of the direction that they may go with some of the projects, I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. I'll just enjoy the Marvel stuff that I already have in my collection. Even the non-MCU stuff, like the X-Men movies from Fox before they got bought out, or the Fantastic Four and stuff like that, or the everything MCU up into Endgame. Maybe I'll just enjoy that, because at the end of the day, I just want a good story, good characters, and just be entertained. I don't care about politics. I don't care about agendas and all this stuff. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, those people, they ain't about justice and equality. Most of them. Some of them are. But most of them ain't about justice and equality. They're all about one group ruling. And when one group rules, nobody wins. Just think about that for a second. When one group rules, nobody wins. Yeah, you might be the one controlling everything, but the truth is, you're losing out on things that you may not could see in front of you, but because you're the one that's dominating, that veil is in front of your face and you can't see in 6 inches in front of you. Anyway, that's really, I just felt like making a video like this. I'm out. You have a nice day, folks.